Bom dia, Portugal!
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, you gumpers.
Hola, bom dia, alegria. Munson here with the Expats Portugal show. In case you missed it,
Bom dia, Portugal!
the guy's head at the end. That was a wonderful Joao who joined us on Friday on Feel Good Friday. Check that out. If you didn't see last Friday's show, it's fantastic. With Philomena and Joao there and Mac. And I hope they had a fantastic time at their motorcycling meetup on Saturday. A lot of hard work went into that, as you'd have discovered if you joined us on Friday. So I hope you guys had a fantastic time and partied into the early hours of the morning of Sunday. Now, I think people have been very busy this weekend. I've had photographs in from so many people on videos as well. I don't think I'm going to be able to manage to share everything this morning, but we've got all of the rest of the week, haven't we, to share the wonderful images, visuals, pictures of Portugal and beyond, of course, because in Canada, a little taxi was captured here. Please keep your dogs to the west of this sign. Well, that appears to be working on the face of it, but we don't know which way that sign was pointing. Morning, Taxi and Suze. Thank you very much for that. And from our correspondent in Botswana, if you're thinking of going swimming at the weekend, close to the Bell Frog, not familiar with that part of the river, but I think she called them flat dogs, crocodiles, alligators, whatever they are. Makes a change, doesn't it? From orcas over here in Portugal, taking an interest in boats increasingly. But yes, that's quite something, isn't it? To get a little bit of a warning on social media that there are some crocodiles or alligators on a certain part of the river. Back in Portugal now, Philomena sent us this. Do you understand what this means? She says, and who doesn't like a big bifana first thing in the morning? More than 30 centimeters of pleasure. Thank you very much. What made you think of us, Philomena? when you were out and about taking loads of wonderful pictures for us. Thank you very much. That's the one that surprisingly that I chose to show this morning. And as I said, I don't think we've got time this morning. We've got James this morning. Where's that ticker tape that's telling you there's always something, isn't there, that gets overlooked in the hurly-burly of putting the show together for you every morning. There it is. How was your weekend? Migration Monday. Gilda's here from 9. May still be on holiday herself. It's a national holiday today. Ascensión de Nossa Senhora is the Assumption of the Virgin this morning. Always good to make that assumption, of course. And the Assumption of Our Lady into Heaven is celebrated on August the 15th. Catholic tradition states that at the death of the Virgin Mary, she was transported body and soul to heaven to share in the glory of her son, Jesus Christ. According to theologians, Mary would have died and immediately resurrected, just as if she had fallen asleep. For this reason, the church also calls this event the Dormition. The Dormition. The Dormition does sound like a little snooze, doesn't it, in the afternoon? Dormition of Our Lady. The Assumption of Mary is also seen as an anticipation of the resurrection of the Christians will one day experience. So there you go. Today, public holiday in Portugal. How are you celebrating? Or will it be a day like most others? We'll find out when Gilda joins us what she's up to, if she's still on holiday. Wasn't it amazing last week? She joined us from the Alentejo, and there was a cockerel and church bells. And the imminent grilling of sardines. It was fantastic to join her. And it was very kind of her to let us join her while she was on holiday last week. Let's see where she is this week at 9 o'clock. And between now and then, of course, James, what's he calling himself this morning? James, do you want me to shorten my slug names? Yes, I do. And I see what you did there. Very funny. T-Duck's in as well. Ian Turner, Coach Turner. God Squad tip of the day. We have to come back to a lot of these. I've got a lovely video for myself. On Saturday, we ended up in Alcobaça at the Green Park. And on the way there, a couple of very unassuming brown signs, Monumento, pointing up a lane. Turns out to be an amazing monument here in Portugal. Somewhat forlorn, I have to say, celebrating one of the great figures of Portuguese history. And I made a little video, but I think I'm going to show you that at the end of the show. It's slightly poignant and perhaps a little bit of a downbeat, some moody music with it. So I'll show that at the end today. But just to let you know that this is what the monument looks like. Absolutely beautiful. There it is. Violence smashed, ironically, there, but the threat of violence smashed in honor of Humberto Delgado, a key figure who stood against the repression of the dictatorship here in Portugal. I think beginning in the 1950s, and a wonderful monument to him and his contribution to Portuguese life. Just outside Alcobaça, actually, in a place called Sela Velha. I'll show you the full video later on. Thank you very much to Jean as well for sharing these pictures of himself at at a festa in Sintra. Thank you, Sharon, as well, for sending them in. Good morning. Speaking of festas, as we were last week, the Sintra celebrations in Jana started on Thursday and are going on until the 21st. Not quite as long as Viseu, that festival that dates back over 600 years and goes on for 54 days, right? But here's some information if you're over Sintra way. Festa time over there. Isn't that lovely? Lots of fun between the 12th and the 21st, where Bilito Campos finish off proceedings and celebrations with their contribution to the entertainment there. Tennis bar, is that an activity or a name of a band? Anyway, we've got to move on. The Lisboans show, look at that waltzer. Now, make sure you eat your hot dog after that, I would suggest, which is exactly what Jean's been doing. And there he is. Not a hot dog, sorry, your chorito, your fatura there. It occurred to me, fatura and faturos. You got to be careful because you're going to get a donut or a bill one way or the other, aren't you? An invoice. There it is, ready to be eaten. And there he goes into the mouth. Jean, I think looking forward to that, maybe after a ride on that waltzer or whatever it's called. Jean and Sharon, thank you so much for sharing. Really appreciate it. Your pictures from Sintra this weekend. Thank you also to Antonio F. The Aveiro Bacalhau Festival began, I think, on Friday or Saturday, probably Friday, right? These celebrations tend to begin on the Friday, don't they? And get into it on earnest. And I've got loads more pictures. Thank you very much for your pictures for the Festival of Bacalhau, do Bacalhau in Aveiro. And many more to come on that. But there's the beginnings, presumably the old way of drying bacalhau back in the day. Thank you, Antonio F, for your pictures. More of those throughout the week this week. What else have we got? Oh, fantastic. Look, thank you for this, Pam. Talking about going over to Alcobaça. This lady was spotted in Alcobaça. Now, who is that? I hear you asking. Well, that, my friends, if I loaded up the pictures, so many. If I loaded up the pictures correctly, yeah, here she is, and a wonderful description of what went on in Aljubarrota. Well, that's Alcobaça way, isn't it? Aljubarrota is its own town, of course. And thank you very much, Pam, for this. I thought you might like some photos of Aljubarrota medieval to share. The story of British de Almeida, the padeira de Aljubarrota, the baker of Aljubarrota. And this year's version, who was a bit scary, you just saw her, it, him, them. Apparently what happened was she became famous for having killed 7 Castellanos using her oven shovel. So there she is with a sort of slightly, well, I don't know, that makes me feel somewhat uncomfortable hearing that story and seeing that look on her face. Is that before? I think it's probably before she set about 7 Castellanos during the Battle of Aljubarrota and took 7 of them out. Thankfully, Aljubarrota is a much more civilized place these days with its own little shopping center and historical viewpoint of the battle that went on there, or it's a touristic viewpoint of the rich history of Aljubarrota. Thank you very much, Pam. I really enjoyed being over your neck of the woods on Saturday. When was it? Was it yesterday or was it? I've completely lost track. I think it was Saturday, yes. And we went swimming in the bay again last night. So nice. I'm getting so used to swimming in the bay at San Martino de Porto, getting quite acclimatized to going into that. What some people think is cold water. I really love it now. That moment of just diving in towards the setting sun. Actually, I have to tell you, it's really beautiful. And then I waited yesterday because it was cloudy, then it was sunny, then it was cloudy, then it was sunny. The cloud cleared, the sun was there, and I dove. Is that what you say? Dove into the glistening water, and to feel that chilly, slight shock to the system. But to be under the water there is so nice, and really getting used to that and enjoying it, the whole family here. Okay, it's time to move on, actually. There are things we need to come back to, like dad jokes, and to say hi to everyone. And James and I will do that together, because I did promise him this morning that he would be joining me at 8:40, because there's never enough time to cover everything that he wants to say. I've been having my own philosophical thoughts about life this morning. We've got lots to talk about, James. See you after this. Swing, swing. Good morning to you. How are you and your big Bifana this morning?
No Bifana yet.
That's a classic response. No Bifana yet. You know what I mean? Tudo bem? Como estás? Como vai, my friend? How are you?
Tudo bem. Sim.
That's what Philomena, she's so naughty, isn't she? So, James, the big question for you is, what's been on your mind, sir?
Well, first I have to clarify. When I told you briefly that I had a story about last week, you said, "Oh, maybe we'll need more time." So
yes.
You're the one who's missing more time. I thought, silly Carl.
Yes. It's hard enough, isn't it? I'd ask you a simple question like, what's on your mind? And 25 minutes pass. We start talking about it with Gilda. But, you know, it's hence my slight hesitation when you want to tell me about what goes on in Lisbon. I mean, really, what goes on in Lisbon should stay in Lisbon, or should it not?
Well, I won't go into all the tiny details about it, but I had a living experience last week of everything we've been talking about around. There's a part of it, and you see how wonderful all that is, how much joy there is, and all that happened. And I'll just say, I spent considerable time planning this get together as a surprise to include Antonio and Nunu for Tony and Hank and Connie. So I was working 3 different chat groups, trying to coordinate things and not tell Hank and Connie and Tony what I was doing over there with Antonio and Nunu. And Monday came around, and well, let me connect this. This is all about attachment and expectation and letting go, which is what we've been talking about. And this is a real life example of how that plays into all of our lives, but in particular, my life last week. And that is, I had this plan that was founded on this idea, this thought that Connie and Hank were going to be in Lisboa for Monday and Tuesday night. That's where it all started. And I said, okay, well, now, and that was because Tony was coming on Tuesday. So, all right, I got Connie and Hank and Tony, and I know that Antonio and Nunu are in Lisboa, so maybe I can get them to show up for lunch, and surprise, look who else is here. Our own little mini meet, right? So all that preface, absolutely nothing, none of that plan came together as I had it planned. And yet all that joy occurred anyway, right? So, so it was this amazing experience of the noticing, oh, wait, they're not going to be here Tuesday night. And then having to file that in the back of my head about what does that mean in terms of the whole rest of the plan as I engage Connie and Hank right now and enjoy who they are and where we are right now. And then somehow get to what are the implications of this change, this sudden change. And in that moment, I noticed attachment. I noticed
Yes.
that I really wanted it to be Monday and Tuesday night. And I just found out it wasn't going to be. And Bink just a little hanging on to that, like, oh no, and then it's like, okay, can't do anything about that. Poof, put that away.
Well
And
spotted.
and then immediately behind that was, well, I hadn't quite put away a little bit of suffering, like, oh, disappointment. Oh, I really wanted that. Okay. And then Bink, put that away. I can't do anything with it. And then having to file it and postpone the processing of everything else so I could be in the moment with them. And then what I realized so often happens, what the technological term is, now I'm forgetting about letting it run in the background, right? Just letting
Oh
it
yeah.
let the program, So I thought I wasn't thinking about it, and then later this sort of solution or whatever occurred to me. So there's not a lot of it to that, except that not only Tuesday night didn't occur like I thought it was going to, and that turned out to be the result, because I had to go back and figure out, so I don't do this again, what happened? Where did that confusion come in? And it was a typo in one word in one message that changed my whole understanding of what was going on. So that in and of itself was quite revealing, because then there were assumptions that were made that I understood and I didn't understand. And we were talking as if we had understood what we were talking about. And we were talking about two different things, a whole bunch of that kind of stuff, which is a different thing about communication. But it started there. Then it was like, okay, Tony, on Tuesday, Connie and Hank are going to get their documents signed at the emissary. I'm going to the airport on Tuesday morning. Well, Tuesday morning, I got up and I checked Tony's flight status and it said canceled. So I'm like, wait a minute, he's on his way. He's somewhere between Boston and Portugal, I think in the Azores, on a flight that's been canceled. Okay, so what does that mean for Tony? What does that mean for me in the airport? What does that mean about me and Connie and Hank for the morning? Because he's not coming. And I kept track of that, contacted him. He said, yeah, they put me on a TAP flight, but I'm not going to be there till 2. So he's supposed to be there at 10. So now there's a 4-hour difference that changes this whole thing around lunch. I had this whole lunch thing and who was going to make it and who wasn't going to make it. Now Tony's not going to be there for lunch. So again, attachment, bing, Tony's supposed to be there. It's like, a little suffering in it. Oh, I really wanted this to work for Tony and all of us together. Then letting that go, moving on. All right, Tony's not on and on and on until the bottom line on this, and I pointed this out to Connie and Hank as they were getting off the metro Tuesday night to go home. And I was headed with Tony to get him settled in back at Alfama, which is a whole other story. Now I know why Portuguese people don't want to drive to Alfama. I'd never been there. It's like, oh my goodness, this is worse than the streets of San Francisco because they're tiny and they're steep and it's just packed in. Now I understand why the Portuguese don't want to drive up there. Okay, I didn't know that till I got there, and I made I went up and down the Alfama Hills like 3 times because of the changes in this schedule.
Sorry.
Yes, no, I laughed at it too. So I got Tony settled in. But the last thing I pointed out to Connie and Hank as they were getting off the metro is nothing went according to the plan we had put together. We had a great time, and we had lunch at the zoo and coffee at the airport. Where we were going to go out to lunch in the middle of the day, this whole thing. So the bottom line, we had lunch at the zoo and coffee later at the airport. The shift in this whole schedule, João wasn't going to be able to make it, but because it went 4 hours later, he actually kind of surprised us anyway by joining us at the airport as we were trying to get Tony's luggage arranged because it didn't come with him on the plane. So
I hope people are listening. We will be testing you on this. We will be testing. So what?
It's really not about the details. It's just about this notion of we think we have it figured out.
Oh, mate, yeah.
We get attached to things going the way we have it figured out.
Oh, yeah.
And in the face of absolutely nothing goes the way you had it planned, if you can let go, there's this wonderful experience that's sitting here right there for you to have. And
Such an
if you can
uncomfortable
just let
parallel
go
for
of
me
it,
here. Yeah, well, you made a sound during that, which reminds me of my 3-year-old son, James, who at the moment, when things don't go quite according to his plans, he goes, ugh! And I think you did that during your description of what he does
yes,
that a lot.
I have pretty
Yeah.
active toddlers going on inside
Ugh!
too. Uh,
Um,
ah,
the
yes, all
pair
of
of you would
those.
get along really well. But the difference, obviously, between you and him is that you are working on this mechanism you've just described there. He's not so good at that little switch that you talked about of, oh, well, okay, I could let that go if I. No, he doesn't really do that at the moment.
Yes, yes.
Quite the opposite. He doubles down, and sadly, it often ends in tears, which I suppose is the final illustration of the point you're making, right?
Mhm. And
Yeah.
that ultimately for a toddler is the process of letting go. Those tears
Yes.
get the
Yes. True.
feeling out.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
feeling is gone. Now they want a cookie. They're done.
Yeah. Yes.
Where as grown-ups, we hang on to, oh, it didn't go the way I wanted, and I've cried about it, but now I'm mad about it. And now I'm gonna hang on to it for the next 3 weeks. Like, no, kids like, ah, okay, let's play.
And
They're
yeah.
done.
Well, and interestingly, if you hadn't gotten over yourself, as I think you American therapists say, maybe, it would have been
That's
interesting,
what
wouldn't it,
clients.
for Tony and Hank and Connie to arrive in Lisbon and think, God, James seems so cheerful and of a sunny disposition when we see him on the show in the mornings. He's really grumpy in real life, and but no, they didn't get to experience that because you were able
Well,
to.
it takes much longer to describe it than it does to get through it, right?
Well,
So
sure. Well,
those
sure.
moments are
Yes.
like
Yeah.
pretty much like that. I just
Yeah.
notice, make a choice, let go, and then act on that. All right, Connie, hey, great. I'm happy you're here. I'll figure the rest out later.
And one of the ironies in there, right, to me as well, is that you would think, wouldn't you, as a retired person enjoying the best that life has to offer in Portugal, you wouldn't be subject to such challenges and difficulties. We moved away from all of that stress and hassle, didn't we? Which you could associate with certainly with working life, maybe you know, extended family life, possibly, and often people are moving away from those two things. But no, it's there to get you, isn't it? Or should I say
Yes.
educate
Well,
you?
I guess one potential conclusion is never try to plan anything fun. Then you'll never be disappointed. You won't.
Yes, indeed. Well said. Well said.
Yes,
Okay.
but that's what comes with the notion of planning, particularly if you're attempting a surprise that involves multiple people with multiple schedules. Those kinds of things are going to happen. So
Oh, and
that
yes,
input,
anyone who's been a tour guide will know about this. There are so many variables and so many things that go wrong, and the great tour guides go with that flow, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And
Yes.
I don't do it a lot, so I don't have as much practice letting that kind of dynamic go. So for me, it was a great opportunity to practice. And
Well, you might get some invitations, James, now that you're so good at this, it would appear, and getting over it as well, that people might want you to organise a tour in Lisbon or other significant Portuguese cities. So James may well be available to organise such things and meet and create other riots of gumpers around the place. Well, thank you for that. Let's say hello to a few of our friends this morning and then come back
yes,
to.
let's do that.
Well, maybe we can talk more about the mechanics of that, of the letting go, because you can bet your life, can't you, that somebody in this community this morning will be thinking, "Hold on a minute, yes, that's exactly what I'm going through. What did he say? How do I deal with this?" So we can come back to that. Ian was in this morning, off to look after the grandkids by the sound of it, and we'll come back to your tip of the day. Thank you very much for that. The God Score tip of the day. T Duck is in as well, with a deep thought of the day. Imperfection is beauty. Madness is genius. And it's better to be absolutely ridiculous than absolutely boring. Well said, Marilyn Monroe. Portuguese saying of the day, we'll run this past Gilda later as well. But muito palha, pouco grão, a little of straw and a little grain. Much ado about nothing. Well, we'll find out about that. Let's run that past Gilda later. And thank you very much. And thank you for your dad jokes, which we'll also come back to, because I just want to see the look on Gilda's face when we share them with her. Would you like to share this yourself this morning? Please, James, did you want me to shorten my slug names? Ha ha, very funny. Yes, go on.
I just love toying with you with my names now.
Yes, really.
Yes, Will Rogers said, and I'll see if I can give him at least a little Midwestern twang.
Oh, yes, go on.
I'll bet you the time ain't far when a woman won't know any more than a man.
I don't know. What am I supposed to be offended or enlightened by that? What does that mean? Will Rogers
It's
has
actually
his way,
it
doesn't he?
took me a little while too, and Will Rogers will do that, but he's actually complimenting women. What
Yeah,
he's saying is women are much smarter than men right now, but it
okay.
won't take. Maybe it won't be too long before they're as dumb as men.
Well, we can ask Gilda about that as well when she comes on at 9:00. And I wonder where she is, if she's in the quiet of the Alantesian countryside, or back in the office, or back in the home office. We'll find out a little bit later on. Chris is here with an A, thoroughly appropriate, Chris. Well done. And tudo bem.
Hey.
That's the extent of my Portuguese for now, but learning more using Duolingo. Well done, Chris. Great to have you here. Shaka Khan, of course. It was due to be the featured star of our Pfizer to do, but which one? Shaka Khan by Shaka Khan? Is that a feel for you? Thoroughly appropriate. Well, James is on, and yes, yes, well done.
Yeah.
I mean, she must have had to get used to that, right? Every time she says her name, that's what people come back with. Bon dia, Carl.
Hi, Shaka Khan. It's like, Shaka Khan.
Yes. All right. Okay. I'm Shaka Khan. Shaka Khan. No, stop it. From a fresh Belfast of a very hot 9 days. It rained overnight. Should be normal temperatures, 18 today. And well done, Deegan, and everybody who went to the NOAA gathering. I hope that helps over there in Belfast. Laura, hola. Noite un poco agitada para ligero tremor de... Oh, yes. There's been an earthquake, has there not, in the Algarve this morning? Is that 6 then? Is that, sorry, more or no? Does that? I'm going to have to ask Gilda what that actually means, because I think we might be going into some serious territory there. But I think there has been a little bit of a tremor down there in the Algarve, if that's what you are referring to, Laura. Tenho muito medo sempre. I'm still not entirely sure what you mean there, Laura. You might have to help us out a little bit. Ubi's in, Stephen's in, and Lonnie McLaughlin is here. Bon dia, esta de volta. And yes, was at the NOAA rally in Belfast. 10,000 to 15,000 people seeking justice in Belfast. Well done, everybody. That's great. Jean's in as well from New Jersey. And Ubi is up in Braga at the moment at Bon Jesus Mont in Braga. Magical, sublime, blessed, like Sintra, and not too different from the hills back home, but more sacred for sure. Cool, grey, magical mist amongst trees not on fire. Well, very poignant description there. Thank you. Connie's in as well. And Deagle's into the 50s on the countdown. 58 sleeps till our next trip out to Portugal. Bless you, Deagle. And Carl really puts the stop it, please, Thunder Duck. And I've got your question, and that's ready for Gilda later as well. Suzanne's in. Antonio's in. And Jean is here. Thank you, Jean, for being here. And who else is joining us this morning? Manuel is here. And Trevor. Hey, Trevor and Shannon. Bon dia from a sunny Lisboa. How you doing there as well? And Pete, bon dia Algria. I haven't read to the end of this. What an amazing weekend at the Almada Festa. Cheesy bacon and chips. Fatura and... Fatura, you got some invoices. Well, they dipped in cheese as well, your faturas there. And a bifana with Andy and Margarita. Can still feel the chip-sized cholesterol flowing through my veins. That's how you should feel on a Monday. Just drink a slightly acidic white wine, and that will sort that all out. I'm not a doctor, by the way. Pam's in. Pam, thank you. We showed you your video a little bit earlier on, and I think you enjoyed the Aljubarrota medieval as well. Pips is in. Thank you for your crocodile, or were they alligators picture, Pips? Lovely to have that sent in. And be careful, anyone swimming in Botswana. Crocodiles and alligators in the water, unlike orcas here in Portugal. And Victoria is in as well. Look at this. Hola, bon dia, kids from cool Portimao, blue skies, but low, painterly clouds, hugging Monchique in the distance. What a poetic bunch we are. Love that. And Jim White's in as well. Bon dia, todos from Porto. Need to speak to you, Jim, about a couple of things. And thanks to the slug for lowering everyone's blood pressure. How about that? I think that story was kind of raising people's blood pressure a little bit, but you came with the solution. So let's come back to that then. If you wouldn't mind summarizing, because we're about to welcome Gilda onto the screen with us, James. The mechanism there, your plans, the best laid plans, were slipping away from you. It was going to be ruining your special surprise. You were about to melt down like my 3-year-old does and go, ugh! But you didn't. You did something else. What did you do?
Well, to be clear, I did that mentally. I did make that sound in my head, but
Yes.
it all goes back to this practice. And it's been, you talk about your 3-year-old, it's like, all right, well, give him another 50 years. He'll probably be pretty good at it.
Yeah.
It took me at least that long to get it figured out.
Well, hell yeah. Yeah.
But for me, the simpler we can make it, I think the easier it is to access it and practice it. And with the practice, then it becomes your default, right? So I haven't defaulted to the point where the attachment just isn't there. And then the following tiny bit of suffering just isn't there. I don't know that we as humans can do that because we're reacting to something that's coming at us right now. Maybe we can. Maybe that's mastery. But understanding that the simplifying for me, it is always in the motto that I use again and again: notice, choose, and act. So notice, when I have a feeling, I notice it now because I've been practicing noticing. Oh, tightness in the chest, or whatever it is. Notice that. It's like, what is that? Oh, that's my attachment. So immediate identification from familiarity. So notice it. Then from notice, what's my choice? Almost always my first choice is to breathe, because that's going to settle me down. That's going to slow the process down. That's going to allow me to get to a better place. So I notice, or then I choose, breathe. Now act. Okay, what can I do about it? So almost always is, can I do anything about this? And if the answer is no, then it's an automatic. It becomes a flow chart. If no, discard or file. If no, throw away. If yes, deal with it. So this is an if no, off it goes. So that's in that moment. For me, it's always the default. Notice, choose. Okay, can I do anything about it? No. Act, let it go. And it's momentary. It's very, very short.
And the more you practice, the better you get. Or the alternative, go to the Alentejo for a holiday, because that really calms you down. Let's see how that went. Stay with us, James.
Punch someone in the face, but
no, do not punch anyone in the face. Do not punch anyone in the face.
P on GMP every Monday morning. Her approach to self is oh so fine and always reassuring. It's Gilda P on GMP every Monday morning.
Gilda. Quite reassuring. Here she is, Gilda P. How you doing, Gilda?
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. You
I'm a little bit sleepy today.
Are you? Well, It is a James. It is a public holiday, isn't it? And you're not you're no longer surrounded by cockerels and church bells, are you?
No, I came back last evening.
Okay, and are you a little bit sad and sodaddy about coming back from the Alentejo?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I can understand that. It looks so wonderful. And at the end of the show last week, Gilda, when we went out with the church bells at 3 minutes past 10, because who cares if they're 3 minutes late? It was just so lovely, wasn't it?
It was.
And now you're back. Now you're back for Migration Monday. Well, thank you for being here on a day when it's actually a public holiday here in Portugal. I imagine the office is closed this morning, is it not?
It is.
It is, as it should be. And thank you for joining us nonetheless. So we will take some of those questions, but let's catch up with you. You still have been partying in these last 7 days, I believe.
Yes.
Fine food.
And it's very difficult to handle all these parties because, if I went to ones, but I had to miss others, you have to keep choosing. You have to keep choosing all the parties you want to go. And sometimes it's not easy. Being a Portuguese in this time of the year.
Well, we could make that an international phrase, couldn't we? It's as difficult as being a Portuguese person in August, and all these parties that you're. I mean, what I thought you meant was you're struggling, keeping up, going to all the parties. The anxiety is not there. The anxiety is in the one you're having to miss because you're going to this one and not that one, right?
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, now I understand. Where is this in? Where have you been? I think this is from your last week.
This is a beach in the Alqueva.
Okay, where's that?
Wouldn't
it to where you've
in
been?
Alentejo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Alentejo.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Is that in early in? No, I'm thinking that's probably not early in the morning. That's probably in the evening, right?
Yeah, it's the
Okay.
sunset.
This is sunset. And of course, some food has been. Oh my word! Some food has been consumed in, and I've seen this wine before. It's a great wine from the Gilda P there. What is going on here, Gilda? Just how delicious was that?
Very delicious. So this is black pig, grilled black pig. Okay. On behind you have some Alentejan bread.
Yes.
Grilled and some onions grilled.
Oh, they look like pastel de nata. They look like
yeah, they look like
pastel in the background. So that's very simple food and very delicious food, I think. Black pork is a speciality of the Alentejo, isn't it? And they're fed on acorns, I believe, as well, aren't they? As part of their diet.
On what? Sorry.
On acorns, on the oak nuts. I think you could describe the acorn. Oh, okay. Well, we'll fact check that.
Well, it's very delicious, but it's very fat meat.
Juicy. Yeah, but come on, this sort of. I mean, people worry unnecessarily, I think, about this type of cholesterol. There are other paleo types of people, aren't there, primal eaters, who do not eschew this type of fat, and some say it's absolutely necessary for us, and not only on the meat. And forgive us if you're vegan or vegetarian this morning, but you're dipping that Alentejano bread that's been grilled beautifully into the meat juices as well, aren't you? And the onions. I'm going to have to stop talking about this because my mouth is watering as I speak of it. And
that's bad. It gives it the flavor.
What, to dribble on the food? No, James, that's not what I meant. So, well, great to have you back, Gilda. Sorry, go on.
I just say the fat on the meat is what gives it the flavor.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's something that you put on your mouth, and it's like butter.
Oh man, yes. Hours of pleasure for me, just savoring that on my beard later on in the day. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Gilda, for that. And yes, that wine, is that a favorite of yours?
No, but it goes well with that kind of meat.
A rich red of some sort, and the Alentejo, of course, blessed with many fantastic red wines there. So, Gilda, is that it for holidaying this year, or have you got anything else planned for this year?
I've got something else planned.
Nice big smile on your face when you say that stuff. Are you going to tell us more, or are you just going to make it a surprise and report from there later on this year?
I don't know if it's going to be possible. It will. No, maybe it's going to be possible. Yeah, I'll try to report from there.
Right, a nice surprise for us there with more food and wine and festive tips coming from there. So, what's new in the world of migration then? I'm still quiet, of course. It's August in Portugal and everywhere else for that matter. But something happens, especially in Portugal in August. People go on holiday and things slow down. But any news filtering through? I mean, CEF are being sued by people now. Are there changes occurring? That was quite exciting, wasn't it?
It was. It was quite exciting.
How has that gone down in the industry then? Have CEF felt a little bit chastened and maybe I don't know, inspired by that went on?
No, we felt inspired by that. You know, we are like, how no one think about that before? You know, it's like someone had the courage to actually do it.
Yes.
It was amazing. Yeah, everybody was happy about it.
Yeah.
Let's see if now CEF it's going, or the authorities are going to do something about that, and CEF is going to try to speed up things.
Very good.
But it was amazing.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't know, this was an English or a UK-based golden visa applicant who wasn't happy with the way they were being treated, took it to court, and the court said, "CEF, you need to give this person an appointment. You're clearly out of order." And that appointment happened. What would the atmosphere have been like at CEF for that appointment, do you think, Gilda?
Not happy.
You know,
Tonight, yeah, it's going to be a slightly awkward atmosphere, isn't it? The guy who sued us is coming in this morning to try and progress his application. So yes, that would have been. I don't think he'd have been provided with coffee and pastel de natas that morning with a special welcome. Gilda, you seem incredibly relaxed, if I may say so, and that's a great thing. We keep James with us after 9, just in case. It's a bit like having a personal, de-stressing trainer on standby. So should we get rid of him? You don't
I'm
need
fine. I'm fine today.
Yeah, we don't need him.
Yeah, you're very calm, and it's more than just tired. I'm very relaxed just because you're here.
Oh, thank you.
So you're calming me.
That's right. The student has become the master in this morning. Thank you for being a beacon of relaxation, which means, James, you're entirely redundant now, having shared your thoughts with us this morning.
Yes, absolutely. And it's gone full circle.
Yeah.
So as I leave, I'm just curious, because the phrase, I think is a great phrase, is it's difficult being Portuguese in August. And I would love to know how one would say that in Portuguese.
Because we're going to make that stick, Gilda.
Yeah, I like that one.
That is our contribution to the world.
It's not easy being Portuguese in August. Yes, that would be it.
So can we have that? Can we have that in Portuguese, please?
Não é fácil ser português em agosto.
Perfect.
Okay. That's beautiful.
If you could write that down. Did you catch that, James, with all the right accents and circumflexes?
I just caught the sound.
Okay, what's
writing always helps.
We've got it. As Gilda's writing it for us. James, thank you so much.
Capture that moment.
For your sterling service to us in this community, and as Trevor said earlier on, helping us
put it in my flashcards.
Look at that. Thanks to the slug for lowering everybody's blood pressure. Good on you, mate. Take care, and we will see you.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, James.
Ciao.
Obrigado.
Bye for now. There he goes. Okay. I see. What's this? Texas wisdom. Is that Will Rogers, perhaps? All hat and no cattle. I don't know what that refers to, and if that is Will Rogers or not, but it stands alone, doesn't it? We know what you're saying when it's all hat and no cattle. Thank you very much for that. Now, facile per português em Augusto. Thank you very much for that, and I will send that, cut and paste that directly for James there, Gilda. So nothing else to say then from the industry, from the background of things, the context of migration coming into Portugal.
It's been very difficult to get a NIF and the NIS if you are in a big city.
Yep.
Because the queues are being very long. Yeah. And the informatics system is not working at all, because if you submit the documents in the informatics system, it has to be done by someone on the other side. It's not automatically. And the lack of people working, it reflects also on the time that you are getting the NIFs. So something that was done like in 48 hours, it's taking now 1 week or 10 days to get a NIF, even online.
Really?
And yeah, it's having a great impact on people that are waiting for a NIF to start a process or to start working. So it's terrible to try to do something in August.
Okay, and what is the reason for this, Jill? The computer system, the IT system of the government is broken or slow, or is it a temporary problem or it's kind of residual problem?
No, it's because it's not 100%
effective.
No, it's not. It's like you submit the papers electronically, but then on the other side, you have people working. So it's not like automatically.
Oh,
so you need manpower on the other side, and everyone is on holidays. So it's like.
All right, so it's not easy being Portuguese, or not easy being. It's not easy.
A foreigner.
Yeah, it's not easy to try and become Portuguese in August as well. We need the translation on that as well. Yeah. I think. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you very much for that. Anything else?
The consulates are also a little bit slower because the people that work and decide on the consulates are Portuguese, and they come on August. They come to Portugal because they are Portuguese immigrants.
They come back for their holidays.
Yeah.
Yes, I see. So everything's slowed down in the consulates as well. It's so good to have this insight into what's going on behind the scenes. Very interesting. Because people I speak to during the week, they were very interested in our conversation last week, and when we spoke with Christina as well about your favorite in your office, your favorite consulates that you like dealing with, and we almost created a top 10 of our favorites, didn't we? I think New Delhi were down at the bottom at number 10. And then we had, California, we had San Francisco, didn't we, near the top. But these things are changing, and for the reason you've just given, that people are coming back from the Portuguese nationals, are coming back from the consulates around the world, and things are slowing up on the ground overseas. Okay, well, thank you for that. Yeah, anything else that we need to know about from the world of migration?
Oh, and in the middle of September, everything is going to be back on the normality.
Of September, you say? Yeah. Okay, well, we're talking about the end of August, but actually that means the middle of September.
No, middle of September.
But okay, if everyone's on holiday in August, is it because they have to kind of get back into it? It takes a couple of weeks to get back into things.
Yeah, but I say that the people that work in the consulates, they will be back by the middle of September.
Okay, all right, okay. Clarification there. Thank you very much indeed. Excellent stuff. We're talking with Gilda Pereira from Migration, who can answer all your questions like this from Trevor. Bon dia, Gilda. How would all of us, customers, be notified if our CEF appointments get rescheduled? Good question. There are several of us with appointments scheduled for later this month. Thanks.
This is a problem when because this is a very good question, Trevor. When the appointment was made by the consulate, there was not given any Portuguese telephone number. Okay. So if the reschedule is going to be from the appointment that was made with the visa, most likely they are not going to tell you anything. If the appointment is for the family reunification, we give our telephone number and our email, and they will send us a notification for that. This is how it has been happening so far.
So how would Trevor find out? Like how's he going to find out?
Well, he can call to CEF. He can try to call to CEF and say, I want to give my email and my telephone number in case my appointment is going to change.
And if he doesn't do that, how would he find out?
He won't find out unless when he goes there, they will tell him he was rescheduled. We had one case like this from a customer. Oh
my goodness. Okay. So it is a great question, Trevor. And I think you might
It is a great question,
a lot of hassle here because you need to go proactive on this then. So on the one hand, you have fingers and everything else crossed that it won't be rescheduled and you'll just go as planned and nothing will have changed, hopefully, fingers crossed. But if something has changed, you might not get to find out about it. So the proactive thing to do is to call them and say, these are my contact details should you need to reschedule me. You need to do that yourself. Is that what we understand here, Gilda?
Yes, but this is not a normal situation. This is not something that we were expecting to happen. It happened like twice this year in August because of COVID situations in the office, and then we found out and we asked why these people did not get a notification, and this was the answer that we got, because as it was made by the consulate, they didn't have any telephone number or any email that they could notify the person.
Wow. Okay, then. So there you go, Trevor. Thank you for asking that. That may be very useful for other people. It is an extraordinary situation and quite an inconvenient one if that happens to you. And that's what to do about it. Go proactive. Let them know how to get in touch with you should you need to be rescheduled. Does that help, Trevor? Please let us know. Hi, Gilda from T-Duck. It's so good to have you back, T-Duck. You seem to be firing on all cylinders again with your deep thoughts of the day, your Portuguese sayings of the day. Actually, before we ask you a question, do you know this one, Gilda? Muito palha e pouco graça.
E pouco grão.
Yeah, a little bit of grace. No, a little bit of grain. No, you've not heard that one before. Okay,
No.
It must be maybe an ancient one then. There, but if you were to say this if you know when you're down the cafe or at the bar at the restaurant, and you want to just impress people with your Portuguese, would this seem a little bit out of context and weird if you just threw that into the conversation?
I think this is we have I think this is an Asian saying for a modern one that we have, that is muita parra e pouca uva.
Okay, and what does that mean? More cabbage?
It's the same. Much ado, but nothing.
Okay, and the Portuguese for that does it end in cabbage? Did I hear correctly? Curva.
No, uva.
Oh, uva. Oh, eggs. No,
uva. Grapes.
Grapes. Of course, grapes. What was I thinking? Could we have that one more time, please? And yeah, all of you laughing at me because I didn't understand that. You say it. You write it in the comments while I'm in the firing line of these Portuguese phrases. Gilda, please, one more time.
Muita parra e pouca uva.
Okay, so could you break that down for us to save me from guessing and making a further embarrassment of myself?
Muita.
A lot of.
Parra.
Para. I mean, para. I've got a stop, as in para, but not. That doesn't. That's not what it means in this context. These are some of my most difficult moments on air, as I'm sure everybody's enjoying right now. So muito para.
It's the sticks from the.
What, from the grapes? Vines?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I can be forgiven for not knowing that, but that's going to be very useful to me in my wine tasting career. So lots of vines and lots of grapes, is that? It's all just
lots of
twigs.
What did you say?
Twigs
vines?
Or sticks of the vines,
sticks.
Yeah. Branches.
And less grapes.
Oh, it's all
and only a few grapes.
Oh, well, that's a great phrase. All vine and no grapes. I mean, we all experience little. I mean, you could say that sometimes, Seth, couldn't you? It's all vines and no grapes sometimes. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much for that. You have had the modern translation of muito palha e pouco grão there, which is muito para e. What was the last bit of uvos? What was the adjective?
Muita parra e pouca uva.
Pouca uva, of course. Pouca uva. Thank you very much for that. Oof, we got there in the end. And yeah, so T-Duck, back to your question then, which is a good one. My third temporary driver's license is about to expire. This guy is so temporary. He's almost permanently temporary. Hi, Gilda. My third temporary driver's license is about to expire. It's now been 470 days since he tried to exchange his driving license, since I applied. Any hope, any news, anything? I mean, this goes so far back that his Model T Ford is actually gathering rust in the car park. What's the deal here, Gilda?
I have two clients in this situation.
Right, you're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah, I have another one. I don't know how to say. If there is hope, they didn't deny, so there is hope. When is it going to happen?
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah. And am I right in thinking as well, because this came up in conversation in the last week too. Part of this is the Portuguese Institution of Driving, the IMT, reaching out to the American side of things, looking for a driver's record, is it? So is that possibly where it breaks down as well, in between the relationship between the IMT and whichever American driving authority is dealing with it on the other side of the water?
Yes, it is happening, but it shouldn't be taking that time.
You wouldn't have thought so, would you? 470 days, quite a long time. to be in this limbo. So what
and poor Thunderduck, he's still counting the days.
Yes, indeed. Maybe that's the advice. Stop counting. I don't know. It's all I've got. It's all I've got, T-Duck. Stop counting, maybe. And just you and as you say that, I mean, that was beautifully reframed, Gilda. It's not a no, it's still a maybe, would be another way of looking at this, right?
It's just what they say. It's keep waiting. So it's like it's on their loop.
Okay, it's in there, T-Duck. We'll keep checking in, and we're creating our own record here that we might offer to the Guinness Book of World Records, the longest wait for a driving license, which would give you fame and pleasure in a different department, if not in your driving license, in your wallet. No matter where you go, there you are. That keeps coming up, of course, but not on necessarily on the driving license that you want to have. There you are. Be more Mary, less Martha. Thank you for the on this special day in the Portuguese calendar of the Assumption of Our Lady. Be more Mary, less Martha. And that may be available from the Ubi Ominum merchandise website soon. Desert Dwellers with us. Hola, bon dia from Aviva. Good morning to you, Aviva. Lovely to have you here. Lots of wisdom this morning. Look at this, Gilda. When you come to a fork in the road, take it. Yogi wisdom, because there might be a fucker a bit later on down the road, mightn't there? You got the fork, you got the garfo, and you might get the fucker. Keep your eyes open for what, should that happen. And what I didn't manage to clear up, I think this was in the chat. Laura it was saying that she's a bit concerned about being on the 6th floor when there are earthquakes in the Algarve.
Because of the earthquake.
Not that it was 6 on the Richter scale. So forgive me if I've caused any concern to anybody there. Pete, look at Pete talking to Antonio F in Portuguese. Yeah, Laura said, there it is. She lives on the 6th floor. She was a bit scared with the earthquake. I'm glad we've sorted that out. Rajiv is here. Rajiv Mangnani. How are you, Rajiv? Do you have a question for Gilda? And Laura says on the 6th floor, she's always very scared about it. What was it like? Yes, Carl, an earthquake last night, 4.7 off the Algarve coast. Laura, I think you're going to be okay there with that one. Thank you very much for your earlier question, Trevor. That was fantastic. Any other questions for Gilda? Stick them in the chat right now, if you will. I've got a video to play from you as well, Gilda, haven't I? From your recent holiday, is that right?
Yeah. Was that the same question Trevor made?
I believe so. Let's have a look. Yes, the rescheduling question. Yeah, that's there. Cindy B's in. And Jean, thanking you. Good point, Trevor Jones. Fingers crossed for Seth smoothness. Yes, indeed. Everything crossed for that. Okay. Pete saying, we were with a nurse who attended the race in the Azores. We have to go. We have heard how wonderful it is. Yes, the Azores. Actually, if you'll permit me now, Gilda, this is something I didn't manage to squeeze into the first half hour. But on this special holiday, let's have a little bit of marching band action, and we will be right back with you after this. But this will get us in the mood for the holiday that is taking place today. A 1 minute of marching band while we await more questions for Gilda. I think that's lovely. A marching band always gets me in the heart chakra. I don't know about you, Gilda. Do you find that moving?
I find you want my honest opinion.
No. Yeah, go on.
Okay.
No, I do. Of course, we always want your honest opinion. I think you've been left quite unimpressed by that. Am I right? Gilda, what did you think of that? Okay. Shall I go on? Do you want to tell me or not?
They look very depressing. They look like The Walking Dead.
Okay, well, yes, I'll give you that. And I did wonder what I love the sound they make. I do.
No, the sound was okay, but they were so depressed. They looked so
they
depressed.
They need a little bit of work on the choreography. Point taken. Yeah, because they weren't aware that they were being filmed, and those kids at the back weren't playing, were they? That was the other thing that I noticed. I mean, I felt very moved in my heart and guts, and I always do by a marching or a brass band of that kind. But those kids at the back, at least 10 of them, weren't actually playing. Are they instrument carriers, or were they thinking no one's watching? We're not going to play. I wonder. So Gilda's suggestion. This is not migration consultancy. This is a little bit off piste, but her suggestion to the band there in New is that maybe do a little bit of work on your choreography. Yeah, put a bit of New Orleans into it.
Just a smile will do you good.
Thank you, Gilda, for that. I'm so glad I shared that with you. My new Irish passport arrived last week. 11 days to renew it. My old one runs out next March, but I'm going to Portugal. So we renewed early. Very straightforward. Good to hear that one passport office in the world is working nicely. And that Irish passport is a good one to have, isn't it? I think, because you get all the benefits of post-Brexit connections with the UK and a Schengen passport.
Yeah, right.
One of the best passports in the world. One of the best in the world right now, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Are you still laughing about that band? You are, aren't you? I think you are, aren't you? Carl, Algeva is the big dam and artificial lake in the end. We change the subject as quickly as we possibly can. Thank you, Antonio. Yeah. So yes, that's where that beach picture was that Gilda, you sent in to us. Where is that? I'm going to show everybody that again because that looks idyllic. I've got to say, look at that. It just seems so peaceful. And you, may I say, are full of that peace still. You brought that back with you. Okay, Rajiv is asking us, let's go back to migration, shall we, where it's safe. I'm considering applying for the T7 visa. VFS in Dubai has only one date in... What?
Wow.
Can I... It's like the golden ticket. One date in December 2022. Can I apply the D7 visa for myself and then apply for my family later using family reunification? Rajiv, we feel and hear your pain there. I mean, it's one date and not until December 2022. What do you make of this situation, Gilda?
I'm surprised. It seems like a lot of people from Dubai is coming to Portugal.
Okay, and what you think the increased demand is causing this hold up and lack of appointments then?
Maybe they don't have enough people working at the consulate because this they were not prepared for so many people to apply.
Okay, so there's an influx of applications. Given that that's the situation, is Rajiv right in making this a strategic twist to his plans here?
Yes, you can apply for the D7 yourself and apply for your family reunification later.
Yeah.
What was that?
No, that was your video being downloaded in the background there. That's the only way I could do it. We forget. Is that you on stage, by the way? Is that you on stage on this video?
No, of course not.
Okay. All right. So back to Rajiv's question here.
But they will need a Schengen visa to come as a tourist and then make the family reunification here.
Okay. All right. There you go, Rajiv. So that does sound like the right course of action. Just go for your own D7, get the Schengen visas for the family, and go for family reunification later down the line.
Yeah.
And news to you there, Gilda, that Dubai is under this level of pressure.
Sorry?
It's news to you that Dubai is under this level of pressure.
Yeah, I knew that many processes were coming from Dubai, and we have many requests from Dubai, but I didn't know that the agenda was filled until December.
Wow. Okay, Rajiv, thank you for bringing that to our attention here. Is this true, Gilda? I thought all public holidays in Portugal were the first of each month, apart from the 25th of April and the 10th of June. Is that true that they're always the first of each month? that pattern hasn't occurred to me. It doesn't look like it has to you either, Gilda.
The first of each month.
Yeah, the first of every month is a public holiday of some sort in Portugal. Doesn't look like that's ringing.
No, I don't think so. No, we
There
have
you go. What are you
the
talking
yeah,
about?
we have the 1st of December,
Yeah,
but then we have the 8th of December.
as well. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a theory that we'll leave hanging there, Deagle, to see if there's any further truth in that and if there's a pattern. Deagle, as well as giving that to us, approves of your lovely feast there of the acorn. I think they are acorn-fed pigs there, and bolotas is what I should have said when you were asking about acorns, if that makes any more sense now.
Bolotas, okay.
See, there you go. But of course, bolotas. Bon dia, 1 a.m. here in Vegas. Jeff's in Vegas, everybody. If anyone needs anything from Vegas, just shout out to Jeff now. Bon dia from Sarah as well. How are you, Sarah? And any other questions then? Automated. I think that was when you were talking about the Seth situation earlier on.
Yeah.
And Trevor ran into a couple. Trevor and Shannon ran into a couple from Finland that had run into a NIFQ and quit the process for now. It's that bad. Are you seeing this, Gilda? Are people giving up because of all these blockages they're finding?
Yeah, but Trevor, just tell them to talk to us. They don't need to quit.
They do not quit. Do not be a quitter. Talk to EI instead. There's a new marketing strapline for you. Rajiv, hey, you can call the VFS Platinum Lounge. What? There's a Platinum Lounge at VFS. What is this? Yeah, they usually have different appointments, time slots, usually within 1 month. You may be able to apply with your family before December. So, Issa, thank you very much for that. News to Gilda by the look of it here, the Platinum Lounge. And that's a little bit cheeky, isn't it, to create these levels? That seems quite unfair and probably unconstitutional in many ways, right?
This doesn't seem good to me.
No, absolutely. To pay more, get seen quicker. That's not within the spirit of the law or fairness, is it? No, indeed. Okay. Platinum Lounge, we're not shooting the messenger here, Issa. We're just surprised to hear that, which doesn't sound entirely right. Sounds a little rum to our ears here, Issa, this morning. I'm sure Gilda will be looking into that. Me and my partner, says Kunal B, me and my partner thinking of applying for a golden visa by buying property, because other golden visas are available, of course, other approaches. But our country does not recognize gay marriage. How can we prove we are a couple in Portugal then? Great question, Kunal. How could this situation be helped, please, Gilda?
This is very easy. Or you buy... well, the easiest part is if you get married in Portugal.
There you go. And we'll all come to the wedding.
Or one can buy and you can prove that you live together as a couple for more than 2 years.
There you go. So you do have to be married or live together for 2 years, right? Okay. All right.
You just need to prove that you have bank accounts in both names, that you have travel in both names. But like the easiest part would be to get married.
Okay. So even if you're
in a country that recognizes.
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say. So even though your own country doesn't recognize it, Portugal will, under certain conditions, which seem reasonable, don't they, to prove that you have been together for, I think, at least a couple of years, as you were saying there.
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah. So again, just like the Finnish people, don't quit. Call EI. Same with you, Kunal. Make that call to A and see what they can do for you there. Thank you very much for that. Great question. Amelie, sorry, late to the party. No problem. Anna bon dia, Gilda from Jim White.
Jim.
Andrew saying we are 1 year into our first D7 temporary residency permit and we'll be up for the 3-year renewal in 1 year. This sounds like one of those lateral thinking puzzles, doesn't it? What time does the train arrive in the station? What are the financial income and savings requirement for the renewal from Seth? Another great question this morning. Thank you very much for that, Andrew. So when you go for your renewal appointments, what will be checked?
So you will need to show that you have savings in your bank account. You still have means to pay your rental, or if you own a house, your mortgage, or your bills. And if you still have the passive income that you showed with your D7, you need to show at least the Portuguese minimum wage. Okay. But most likely what they will ask for is your bank account statements, and to see if you have no debts with the Portuguese authorities.
There you go. There you go. So technically, it will be the same as you had to show in the first from the get-go, but most likely they just want to make sure you're all up straight with certainly with finances and taxation. There you go, Andrew. Thank you very much for your question. Appreciate it. Another one from Trevor now. Gilda, would the online appointment verification change if it is rescinded?
I don't understand this question, Trevor.
Trevor, you may need to rephrase that because I can't be of much help here. So would the online appointment verification change if it is rescinded? We might need a bit more background on that, if you will, please, Trevor. When you come to a fork in the road, have lunch. Other yogi wisdom, very good. And Kunal, what an interesting question, says Pete. I would be surprised if Portugal, being such a welcoming, tolerant country, would not recognize it. And there you go. We have heard that they will. Gilda, I am a problem child. Oh, we're so sorry to hear that. Maybe you should have talked to James in the first half hour. On my D7, Amelie, you say, I know I get 2 entries. I arrive 1st of September. My Cephas appointment, the 1st of June. And I planned to go to Greece, rescheduled from 2 years because of COVID in November. So entry 2, and visit family in December. Entry 3, can Greece not count since it's in Schengen? What do I do? So this is to do with having your D7 visa. The 2 entries or exits coming in and out of the country in that time, basically, would Greece be counted as an exit entry because she's worried of running out of those 2 entry allowances?
No, in theory, no, they are not going to count. And because she already has a safe appointment, nothing it's going to happen. But I like this other part.
This bit, yes. Thought you might. And the answer to that is,
oh, can I hire you to help to move my... I wouldn't do that.
Really?
No.
Okay. Well, because you although you're brilliant, you can't do miracles.
No, I can.
You can
I can move the appointment. I just don't advise doing that.
Okay. All right. There you go. Maybe another.
But I can, Emily, if you want. But the thing is that Seth, it's so uncertain these days that I would play safer.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Play safe. And technically speaking, I think you used the word technically there. The trip to Greece shouldn't count, but as you said, as I think you seem to be saying, it could do. So she's running a bit of a risk with that, and you're suggesting play safe.
No. I don't think she's running a risk because she has an appointment. Okay.
Yeah.
And having an appointment, they always said, okay, they always say, okay, it's good, you have an appointment to enter in Portugal. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So to enter in Portugal, she will be fine.
Yeah.
But what my advice is, don't. What can be too risky is to postpone the appointment.
I got you.
Because of this instability of Seth.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So keep things simple, keep things steady and safe. Don't be stirring up unnecessary problems.
Yeah.
Okay. There's probably a Portuguese phrase for that. Not this one. Muito para Thank you very much for that. Lots of stems and few grapes. That makes so much sense now, doesn't it? But other leaves. Oh, leaves now. Oh my goodness, it's just got more complicated.
The leaves.
Just booked my flights to Portugal. Alex, good morning to you. 15th of September to scout some properties. Can't wait. Come and see us on the Silver Coast, please. Driving license is so random. I took mine into Coimbra IMT and got it in a few weeks, although the date of birth. Oh, no. Now, this is a great little bit of input here. Thank you, Louise, a Solo 50 plus expat Portugal. We all know and love you and your videos, Louise. So, yes, great. You got yours quickly, but the date of birth is wrong. Should Louise take that back and run the risk of having an even longer wait, do you think, Gilda?
It's a complicated question because it's a risky one.
It's a risky one, isn't it? Okay. What do we think? Like, on the one hand, she might be
she should try. She should try and get it right.
Because if you are stopped and your driving license has a different date to your residency paperwork or passport, you are technically in breach, aren't you, of having the correct information?
Yeah.
Is that the concern here? Yeah. Okay. So make of that what you will, Louise. No, says James. The IMT application cannot even be made until all documents, which include the US driving record, is submitted. So you need that before you even do that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for that input. Driving licenses, the CEF consulate just sends everything back if they don't like what you send them. Okay. The plot thickens there. That is a very melancholy. Okay. People agreeing with you there. Gilda, we thought we'd put that behind us, but we're coming. The marching band is from the Azores. Maybe that's just how they do it there. Okay.
Yes, it's from the Azores.
Yeah, maybe the earthquake advice from Jakarta, pal. Never sleep naked. That's a shame, isn't it? I mean, that is my preference, I've got to say. You maybe didn't even need to know or want to know that. But Sarah says, earthquake advice from Jakarta. Never sleep naked. Keep your passport and some money by the side of your bed and be ready to run into the street. Well, there you go. There's a recipe for a relaxed night's sleep, isn't it? Before you go to bed. Oh, earthquake preparation. Put your pajamas and dressing gown on. Put the passport in the pocket of your dressing gown and make sure there's a bit of loose change in there as well. You're welcome. Rajiv, hey, Gilda, I'm considering applying for the D7 visa VFS in Dubai. Okay,
no, we did this one.
Yeah, but he was putting it in again because he thought we hadn't answered it. But we have now. Yes, Soros, that's right. Brits and biometrics. Chris, will there be a change to anything soon based on the way things are being reported in the news? Or is it still the status quo? Whatever you want. What do you think, Gilda?
Capricorn, it's going to be the same answer. I told you, you are going to be the first one to know if something is going to happen.
Very good. And I like that kind of slightly mafiosi gesture there. Be warned, you will be the first to know, Chris Capricorn. Bon dia from Alfred Demaro as well. Good morning. It sounded a bit somber. What was the occasion? I'm really, I'm a little bit, I'm in two minds now whether I should have played that or not. IMT took my US license. IMT took my US license. If I go back to the US, I will not be able to rent a car since they don't accept a Portuguese temporary license. See, this is the predicament. This is the problem.
Yeah, you have to sue them.
I thought you might say that. So you're next in the... Okay, can you recommend a good... All right, Gilda, the San Francisco... Yes, Daniel, right? The San Francisco consulate notified us of our D7 approval by email. CEF should have it as well. So there you go. Would you agree? Would you concur with Trevor's assertion there?
Yes, I would agree. But they don't, by my experience, they don't do that. They don't communicate.
Yeah. Okay, it's an awkward and basically horrible situation, Trevor. I don't know what else we can say on that, right, Gilda? You're at the mercy of this.
They shouldn't be rescheduling that. And if they do, yes, they should be using the email that is on the application, but they didn't do that. And when we asked, they just told us because we didn't have any contact point.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
They wouldn't make that effort.
No. Okay. I'm sorry, Trevor, that we can't give any better news than that or input. So yes, the temporary Portuguese driving license is only valid in Portugal. That's interesting, Antonio. You say that. I think some car hire rental companies might take it. The other option here, T-Duck, have you thought about getting a replacement driving license from the country of origin, your American driving license, because it's officially lost, isn't it? Perhaps you could consider that. Carl, that WhatsApped you about a local story. Thank you very much for that. Carl, notice, choose an act, let go of the marching band. All right. Okay. Demonstrated right. All right. Desert Dweller, check the spreadsheet link posted on the forums. Oh, cheers, Jeff. We are gathering dates from. Look at this. Isn't this a fantastic thing that's happening on the Expats Portugal forum? People are coming together to share their background info and intel on dealing with Ceph. So that's really helpful, very thoughtful, and a brilliant bit of hive-mindedness there. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Jeff, for saying that. Some input for you there. Aviva, Desert Dweller, stop laughing. It was nice and somber, but I like. You see, I guess it all depends on your sensibilities, doesn't it? For some of us this morning, that was just far too somber and miserable. For the rest of us,
no, that you know the sound was nice. I like the sound. It's just like their faces were so serious.
Tell your face. Absolutely right. Okay, Rajiv, thank you from Rajiv. That's fantastic. Smash that like button, says Tito. I can't believe it's 10-2 already. And we've got a video to play from Gilda. I don't know what it's of. That was quite somber. All right, everybody, but not as sad-faced as the Dance of the Virgins, which was quite hilarious at the Lausanne Festa. Okay, so I think there's, if anyone in our community is a choreographer or some kind of consultant in, audiovisual or dramatic presentation, there's a few gigs available, I think, in Portugal, in Azores and in Lausanne at the moment. Alfred's asking a question. Hi, Gilda. I got a notification, and he said, audiencia previa from the embassy, risk of using the visa for another purpose, Article 10.1. What are my chances after submitting other documents to prove the mean? So this is a pushback, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what should Alfred do in this instance?
I don't know what was the type of visa that he applied for. Probably it was a D7 one.
Yeah.
But it has to be with the documents that he presented.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have to make an appeal, and you have to explain them that all the documents that you presented were according to a D7 and our passive income, and according to the D7 article, they are for that purpose.
Okay, all right, Alfred. Hope that helps.
But this is like in general. It's not me analyzing the situation in particular.
Well said. Okay, yeah, bear that in mind, Alfred, there, if you will. Desert Dweller, before going to sleep, okay, sleep well. Good night to you, bon night. It can take up to 2 months for an apostille from the State Department. All of this information is really helpful to everybody. Thank you for being here, everyone, this morning on a Monday and sharing your insight about your various and individual processes. Really appreciate it. And do report it, of course, on the Expats Portugal forum as well. When renewing your D7, asked Chris B, what kind of proof do you need that you stayed for the required 8 months? Pub bills, bar bills, movie tickets, etc. What would you recommend there, Gilda? Seriously?
You don't renew your D7, okay? Your D7, it's going to be turned into a resident permit. And then your resident permit is going to be valid for 2 years.
Yep. Okay. So, but when it comes to proving that you've been here, and you said utility bills and so on, what are the what's standard practice? What kind of bills would be thought of as legit rather than, I think, bus tickets and movie tickets, as Chris B seems to be suggesting here?
It will be the bank statements.
Yeah.
Okay. They will see the movements on your bank statements and the rental agreement.
There you go. Look at this. Antonio F helping out as well. Really appreciate that. Look at this, Gilda. It's not common, but the VFS in Dubai, they have a VIP service for an extra 150 euros per person. You get an earlier appointment and a few. I wonder what those extra perks are, like a massage while you're waiting. I don't think it's common in other countries. So
I haven't seen that.
No, but you can understand how these things happen, right? But that doesn't sound at all right, does it? To be sorting, prioritizing people in that way. It sounds quite unfair. Gilda, our D7 has a URL we use to verify our appointment. So is that a means of checking the URL that comes with the D7, the small print, if you like? Is that a good route to check on rescheduling?
I don't think that they would put it there. They would update it. I'm sorry.
All right. Sorry about that. Not in the URL for you, Trevor. Unbelievable disaster of private water companies. Oh, I see. They're talking about the UK. There is Pete. And I told you, I was told somewhere that having receipts showing you've been buying in Portugal is there any language proficiency required to renew temporary residency? Your temperature residency is all well and good here in Portugal at the moment. Your temporary residency at the 2-year appointment. Yeah, good question from James there. Do you have to show any aptitude for the for learning the language?
This is when you are going for the permanent residence. Permanent residence. Yeah.
Okay. But you don't at this stage, as James is asking, you don't have to show language proficiency, do you?
No, at this stage, no.
It's all about the money, really.
The money and proving that you stayed in Portugal for that period.
Okay. All right.
That is the minimum period required.
Okay. And here, I think that means follow-up. I certainly hope so. So long as I have the CEF appointment, it's okay to do the 3 entries then. Would you say?
For Portugal, yes. I don't know, and because you are moving in a Schengen country, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Last few minutes of the show. I haven't asked how Mandela is yet. We will do. Gilda said the D7 guy from Dubai has to move to Portugal first, then invite family to come on a Schengen visa, then apply for family reunification. Can this be done while the family is still in Portugal, or do they have to go back? From Georgios there. Good morning to you, Georgios.
No, if they come to Portugal with a Schengen visa, this can be done in Portugal.
Done in Portugal.
The family reunification, yes.
Okay. And Chris B, follow up from Chris. Gilda, does A have any open slots? I'd like to review what is needed for D7 application to the San Francisco Embassy. Yes, get in touch. I will make sure that the details for getting in touch with A are certainly on the screen before the end of the show for you.
We are not like the
Dubai
Embassy.
Or the Dubai Embassy. No, you can't pay an extra 150 euros for a quick appointment. Hi, Gilda. Would a promissory note for deposit paid on future house purchase negate the need for a rental contract? Promissory notes, do they count for the accommodation requirement? Thank you, Paul Harrison, for that question.
For a purchase.
Yes, I think that's what's being referred to.
Future purchase negate.
Yes.
Rental for a rental contract.
So instead of a rental contract, your proof of accommodation basically will a promissory note do?
For a rental contract, no.
No. I think what Paul is saying here, an alternative to a rental contract is owning your own home. And is a promissory note enough, or is that not sufficient? That doesn't really say you own it, does it? That just means you promised to buy it.
Yes, but only if you have already paid like the first sign of it.
Oh, okay. So promissory note is okay as long as you've put that 10% down.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know, Paul. Thank you very much for that question. And apparently you can change your details on your driving license online. I'll let you know how it goes. Okay, well, we'll see you in spring or autumn of next year when that comes back. I am sure Carl would be more than happy running naked in the street. Yes, it's other people I'm thinking about, though, Stephen. I'm not sure what he would do with his keys and wallet, though. And I do not want any suggestions about that. LA resident here, always have an earthquake kit ready by the bed. Water, copies of ID, some cash, etc. Amazing, isn't it? What people grow up with and what is part of people's culture. Thank you for that, Chris. T-Duck, what if you went back to your issuing states, DMV, and told them you'd lost it? It is lost, isn't it? Would they simply replace it? Great minds think alike. Thank you, Jean, for that. Gilda, you are amazing, wonderful. I owe you a bottle or 2 or 3 of vino, or shall I bring you some kimchi? Do you like kimchi, Gilda?
I've never tasted it.
Kimchi.
Oh, that's a Korean drink, right?
No, it's Korean sauerkraut, really. It's slightly fermented, crispy vegetables, and it is delicious, I have to say. You can bring me some of that. I think for Gilda, maybe some of these, 2 of those.
Yeah.
Would be great. Thank you very much for that, Amelie. And yes, bring the kimchi. Bring the kimchi. We're having a party. Yikes, too much info, Carl, about you sleeping, clothes, or lack thereof. Sorry, Connie. You can't unsee that now. Did you see the news report about addresses with over 100 residence permits, some being garages and office? On a serious note here, Gilda, this is a problem, isn't it? With the demands on Portuguese residency, there are some scams ongoing, aren't there? And I think Chris is referring to one of them where somebody has been giving out proof of address, where there are 100 people are supposedly living at one address. Do you see this happening? Is this a big and developing problem that there is a rising scam market, if you like, to help people move to Portugal?
Yes, it's not the first time that it's happening. It happens from time to time, and you know that most of the crimes, that brings lawyers and that brings police, the police or the investigations to the law office, it's related with migrations.
Yeah,
because it is very easy to get on this kind of schemes and to get money to do, you know, like this VFS in Dubai. It gets it's a department. If you are not 100% correct, it gets very easy and tempted to get in this kind of stuff.
Well, and I ask you that because I was sent a WhatsApp message as well from somebody who I'd never heard from before, but they sent me a message to say, can you help us? Some people from Gambia, they're bringing people to Portugal in an illegal way with too much money, or they take money from these people. What they wanted from me was who to report that to. And I said, you know, go to the CEF website and report that way. Have I given them the right pointer there? Is that the best just to approach?
Yes, of course.
With any sort of scam like that. Okay, thank you for that question and that reminder of what's going on as part of the dark side of all of this, Chris. Thank you very much for that. As we close now, and we'll ask how Mandela is in just a moment, and we'll dance our way into the week because Gilda's got a video for me, and of course her rave tune to go out with as well. And then my little movie I want to share with you about the Humberto Delgado monument as well, which I found near Alcobaça over the weekend. James saying to us, Gilda, my D7 was approved with an atestado as proof of accommodations. Of course, yes, that's what you can do. Will I need a new atestado or will I need a rental agreement? I still live in the same place and plan to stay. So will that atestado for the first appointment be okay for subsequent appointments, a 2-year residency renewal, for example?
It will. The atestado needs to have a fresh date on it, okay?
And how fresh?
1 month.
Really? Okay, well, that's good for James to know. James needed to know that. So, yeah, get down your freguesia and get yourself a new atestado. Excellent. Good gumpers. Remember to fondle that like button. Final question for you this morning then. Sorry, it's after 10 now, Gilda, but it is a public holiday. We're taking it nice and easy this morning. How is the little guy? How is he this morning? No, not that little guy. This guy here. Moaz, what are you doing there?
Well, he's fine. We missed him a lot during the vacations. We went to pick him up last evening. And he's just fine. Well, he's a bit weird because I think that he's not quite happy that we left him alone, and he's like playing a little bit,
aloof, offended.
Offended.
Here's some advice for you, Mandela. Notice how you're feeling. Choose your next feeling and then act on it, my little friend. Just the same advice that I don't know if you work for dogs as well, James. It probably does. I'm sure Mandela is taking that in on some level. Whether or not he acts on it, we do not know. So finally then, Gilda, this video that you sent me, what's going on here? It seems like it was a quiet holiday in the Alentejo, but however, you sent me a very noisy video. What is this?
You want me to tell you now or after the video?
Which would you prefer?
After. I want to comment after.
Okay, let's do it. Sorry, go on. What happened there? Another reason why you should sleep with your dressing gown on. No, go on. What was happening there? That's not, you don't have that sort of noise in the Alentejo, do you?
You see, it was so quiet,
Yeah.
in a village that like 50 or 60 people lived. And at the
Yes.
night, I don't know where all these people come from and how noisy can it get. You see, it's difficult to be a Portuguese. You want to go and rest in the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
But it's August, so the party comes to you.
That is amazing, and that is going into the chat now. Não é fácil ser português em agosto. There, you're so right, and you do point to a very interesting mystery there, Gilda. I've noticed this. Quiet little towns, festa night. Like you said, there's 50 or 60 people live there.
Yeah.
Come festa night, there's 2,000 suddenly. Where have they all come from? Are they employed by the Portuguese government to just show up?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was like amazed. How come? It's such a little, village.
Yeah.
Only, old people living there. And I was, when I look at the stage, at the noise, and started to look around, so many people, and it was very late. It was almost 2 a.m.
What? Yeah, this is so difficult being Portuguese, honestly, especially in August. And that level of noise throughout the night. But this is what happens when the cheeky girls come out of retirement. That's what goes on. Do you want to stick around for some dad jokes? Or have you got to go?
Some dad jokes?
Yeah, you want some dad jokes?
What is it?
Okay, you're going to find out.
Warning.
Oh, no! Okay, then. Dad joke warning. You've been given the warning. When two vegans get in an argument, is it still called a beef? Okay, we're watching you, Gilda. We're watching your response to these. Okay, some people pick their nose, but I was born with mine. No, that's not working. I have a joke about chemistry, but I don't think it'll get a reaction. Okay.
This one was nice.
Are you glad you stayed? You are, aren't you? Okay, Gilda, thank you so much. We're going to dance our way into.
It's done.
It's 7 minutes past 10, Gilda. We're what do you mean? What it's done as in there aren't more jokes, or there should be more migration questions?
It's are more jokes.
Oh, you're pushing me for more material here. I've got a God Squad tip of the day for you. I was sent shopping a couple of days ago. I know, right? The supermarket has a huge car park, so I parked as far away from the shop as I could. This has 3 advantages. First, it was easy to park as it was empty there. Secondly, it gives me additional exercise to walk to the shop. Lastly, all those nice people that open their car doors onto yours are miles away. Good tip. But would you recommend it in Portugal, parking on the other side of the car park in summer in Portugal and in August?
No, it's
You'd be
very
great.
hot. Yeah.
So good tip if you live in a temperature below 25 degrees. Thank you so much for that, Coach Taylor. Thank you, Gilda. We've got to go now. I've got this sense that you'd be happy to stay here and just share dad jokes.
I'm feeling.
You are among the most relaxed I've ever seen you. I've got to say. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change that because we're going to rave now and have a great holiday day today. And have a great week. I love to all the team at A, and I'll put the up for you, Chris. I'll put the details, and for everybody, not just you, Chris. But for those of you who pay me an extra €150, you can be in the Expats Portugal Show VIP club, and it'll be even in bigger print. Only kidding. We're going to rave our way out of the studio. Love to the family as well, Gilda. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She would have stayed here all day, wouldn't she? I think. Did you get the feeling that she'd have been happy to do that? Ate Amanya, great show. Thanks, Chris. And especially for you, mate. There you go. There's the details. And anybody else who needs to get in touch with A and have some fun chatting with Gilda. I'm sure their consultations are similarly lighthearted, but getting to the nitty-gritty of getting you here to Portugal. I can hear the concerts over 4 kilometers away, says James. It's so true, isn't it? What do clouds wear? Thunderwear! Woohoo! Yes, mountains. You wanted more, Gilda. You got more. Mountains aren't just funny. They are hill areas. Oh, my goodness. Yes. And shush, you lot. Shush. Nice to see you, Gilda. Thank you, everybody. Ciao, ciao, Gilda. Such a wonderful way to start the day and the week. And I'm just playing with your emotions now because I've got a very poignant video to share with you. It's been my pleasure to find this place yesterday and set it to a little bit of wonderful music I found on YouTube as well. Enjoy this, and we will see you tomorrow on Consumer Tuesday, when we may well be talking to that wonderful fella, Paul Carrera, to see what's going on in the financial markets around the world and look at other consumer matters here in Portugal. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao, and bye for now.